Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. The forest always felt like home. I've hiked the Willamette National Forest more times than I can count. Camped alone, slept under the stars with nothing but a thin sheet of canvas and the low hum of wind through the trees. Out there, away from people and cell signals and noise, I always found peace, quiet, clarity, and yeah, maybe a little bit of ego too. Because I wasn't scared, not of animals, not of the dark, not even of the stories old-timers used to whisper at the ranger station about strange lights or ghost voices. But last October changed that. I took a weekend off work, left Friday morning with just a pack, a tarp, and enough food for 2 days. The plan was to hike into a clearing I'd found years ago, about 3 miles off an old, decommissioned logging trail. No one ever goes out that far. The trail is overgrown. Trees have fallen across it. You can barely tell it was ever a road. Perfect, I thought. By late afternoon, I had my tarp strung between 2 pines, firewood stacked, and water boiling. Golden hour light filtered through the trees. The kind of light that makes everything feel warm and timeless, like nature's version of a fireplace. And then I heard it. Hey, Jace. I froze. Not because someone was yelling in the woods. That happens. Hunters, lost hikers, teenagers partying. But what made me freeze was how it was said. The tone, the timing, the sound. It was my voice, clear as day, like a recording of me yelling my own name from about 50 yards off in the trees. I stood up, heart thudding in my ears, and just stared into the forest. Birds had stopped chirping. Even the wind had settled, like the woods were holding their breath. I didn't call back, didn't move, just waited. Nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself I was tired, dehydrated. Maybe I'd muttered to myself and startled myself hearing the echo. Campfire brain. It's a thing. But as the sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the forest floor, something changed. I was crouched beside the fire, stirring a pan of instant rice, when I saw movement down the trail. A figure, walking toward me, and even before I could make out the face or the lack of reaction, I knew. Every hair on my body stood up. My skin went ice cold. It was me. Same height, same walk, same beat-up hiking boots and dirty jeans. Same navy plaid flannel I bought at a Goodwill 2 years ago, and I was already wearing it. He, or it, walked casually like it belonged there, like it had every right to stroll up to my fire. When it got about 20 feet away, it stopped and smiled. Not a friendly smile, not curious, just knowing, as if it had been waiting for me, studying me, like it was finally stepping out from behind the mirror. I stood up, my legs wobbling like I'd been holding a squat for too long. And when I scratched the back of my neck, the thing scratched its neck. Same hand, same tempo. I blinked. It reached into its jacket pocket. I reached into mine, slowly, and pulled out my pocket knife. A stupid little thing with a red handle and a half-broken corkscrew. My dad gave it to me before he died. This thing, this copy, pulled out the same one. I don't remember screaming. I don't even remember grabbing my flashlight or my keys. I just remember running, through branches, over logs, tripping and stumbling and gasping so hard I thought my lungs might collapse. I didn't stop until I hit gravel, until I saw my truck parked crooked beneath a wash of moonlight. I didn't sleep that night. I sat behind the wheel, doors locked, staring at the tree line with bloodshot eyes until morning. At first light, I drove straight to the ranger station. Didn't say much, just that I might have left some gear out there, and I wanted to check in with someone. One of the younger rangers, Brad, offered to tag along. I didn't argue. When we got back to my campsite, everything looked normal. Untouched, tent still pitched, pot still sitting over the dead fire. The food I'd left out was untouched, even by raccoons. That was strange, Brad said, but not impossible. I didn't tell him about the thing I saw. I didn't have the words. I just mumbled something about feeling watched and wanted to pack up fast. Then Brad spotted something maybe 200 yards off the trail. "You wear plaid?" he asked. I turned, and lying at the base of a fir tree was a shirt. My shirt, the same navy plaid I bought at Goodwill, same one I was still wearing. I picked it up. It smelled like moss and wood smoke and something else, something off, like spoiled meat, faint but undeniable. There were no bloodstains, no rips, just dirt and that smell. Brad joked, maybe I brought a spare and forgot. I didn't laugh. I told him I only own one. We hiked out in silence. That was 6 months ago. I haven't been back. But sometimes, when I walk past mirrors or see my reflection in a window, I wonder if it's still out there, wearing my face, waiting, watching, and sometimes I catch myself doing something I don't remember choosing, turning left when I meant to go right, smiling at nothing, speaking out loud when no one's around, and I can't help but wonder, what if it's not out there anymore? What if it's already in? Story 2. My name's Michael. I'm 31 now, but this happened when I was 26, 5 years ago, and not a damn night goes by that I don't dream about it. Sometimes I wake up choking on air, my fingernails digging into the mattress. Sometimes I swear I hear it. That sound, just beyond the bedroom window. Back then, I was living with my younger brother, Jacob, in our late father's cabin near Elk Pine Ridge, West Virginia. We grew up exploring those woods. They were our backyard, our playground, our everything. Mom always warned us not to go too far, especially near the southern edge of the forest where the trees turned black with age and the moss hung down like curtains in an old haunted house. She called it Dead Man's Hollow and said even the birds didn't sing there. We thought she was just trying to keep us from wandering too deep. You know how moms are, full of ghost stories and warnings wrapped in old wives' tales. But the legend of the tunnels, that was one even the grown-ups spoke about in hushed tones. According to the stories, back in the 1800s, a group of settlers tried to carve a new town beneath the ridge during a particularly brutal winter. They built tunnels and rooms underground to escape the cold. Only, they never came out. Not one. People said the earth swallowed them. Others said something else did. We never believed it. Of course we didn't. We were raised on horror movies and urban legends. We laughed at that stuff. Until last summer. Jacob had come home from college. We were drinking beers on the back porch, reminiscing like brothers do. And eventually the topic of those old tunnels came up. He just finished some anthropology course and got all hyped about lost settlements and underground structures. He said we should look for them, like a real-life expedition. I laughed it off at first, but part of me liked the idea. We were older now, braver. Dumber too, I guess. So the next morning, we packed some flashlights, water bottles, and a cheap handheld camcorder. Jacob even brought this old compass our dad left behind. It was more for nostalgia than navigation. We hiked for hours, weaving through brush and ducking beneath branches like we were kids again. Just before dusk, we found it. It wasn't marked. No symbols, no warning signs. Just a rotted out pine tree, snapped in half like a broken bone. Beneath it, the earth had caved in, revealing a narrow hole no wider than a man's shoulders. It smelled like cold rot and iron. Jacob pointed his flashlight into the dark, and I swear it felt like the light just stopped, like it hit a wall of blackness and gave up. "You first," he said with that stupid grin. I didn't grin back. I was already getting that tight feeling in my gut, the kind that says turn back now. But I couldn't let him go alone. We crawled in, single file, the damp soil pressing against our backs and bellies. It was silent down there. Not quiet, silent, like the earth was holding its breath. After maybe 20 feet, the tunnel opened up into a small chamber. And that's when we saw it. A door. Not a modern one. It was old, warped with age, covered in dirt and roots. But it was still standing, built right into the dirt wall. Someone had taken the time to reinforce the frame with wooden beams, like they were expecting to be there a while. Jacob reached for the handle. "Wait," I whispered, though I didn't know why. He looked back. "You scared?" I didn't answer. The door creaked open like a horror cliché, but there was no dramatic gust of air or scream from beyond. Just a room. A small, rectangular room carved into the earth. Inside was a rusted metal bed frame, a shattered lantern, and a wooden crate filled with ancient canned goods. The labels had rotted off, but the smell was wrong, sour and meaty, something that had died long ago and had been waiting to be found. In the corner sat a journal, half covered in dust. Jacob picked it up and opened it, flipping through brittle pages filled with slanted handwriting. His eyes scanned line after line until he stopped. "Listen to this," he said. He read aloud. "They only come when you close the door. Don't close it, no matter what you hear. They feed on the silence. The dark is their nest." He stopped reading. I didn't say a word. Then we heard it, a sound from the tunnel behind us, dragging, slow, like someone pulling a heavy bag across the dirt. No footsteps, just drag. I looked at Jacob. He looked at me. He whispered, "Don't close it. Please don't close it." I didn't. My hand hovered over the handle, but I left the door open. Whatever was out there, whatever had woken up, wanted it shut. I could feel that deep in my bones, like an instinct older than fear. We turned off our lights. I don't know why. Maybe we thought if it couldn't see us, it wouldn't come in. Or maybe we didn't want to see it. We sat in the pitch black, holding our breath as the dragging got closer. Then it stopped, right outside the door. We waited for what felt like hours, though it was probably only minutes. Then the sound began to move again, away this time, fading into the tunnel like smoke on the wind. We didn't talk. We just moved, crawled out as fast as we could, cutting our elbows and knees on roots and rocks. When we emerged, night had fallen. The air was heavy, and the world felt different. Still, like it was watching. We turned around and marked the tree so we could come back, but there was nothing. No rotted pine, no hole, just a patch of moss and a few scattered leaves. We searched for hours, tore up the earth with our hands. Nothing. It was gone. We never found it again. We tried. For weeks, we tried. But here's the thing that keeps me up most nights. Sometimes, just as the sun goes down, I hear that dragging sound near the tree line. It never gets closer, never comes into view, but I know it's watching, waiting, waiting for a door to close. Story 3. I was a forest ranger for 16 years in the Monongahela woods. Most of the job was exactly what you'd expect. Wildlife calls, lost hikers, bored teenagers daring each other to get eaten by bears. Routine stuff. But there's one stretch of forest, deep south of Tucker County, that the locals don't talk about. They call it a hollow. No one draws it on maps. I'm not even sure it has a true boundary. It just starts somewhere beyond an old collapsed fire tower and spreads like a bruise under the skin of the forest. It's dense, tangled with moss-draped oaks, and quiet in a way that makes your eardrums itch. I used to think that was just superstition. You know, Appalachian ghost stories told over beer and bad weather. But now I know better. It was mid-September when the call came in. I was alone on night duty, sipping bitter coffee and working through a week-old incident report. The station's radio crackled. A woman's voice, panic shrill. Help, please. I can't find her. Please, someone. Then static. I sat there staring at the speaker like I'd imagined the whole thing. No ID, no channel, just a voice screaming for help. And I recognized the coordinates on the blip that briefly showed up on the GPS screen. The hollow. I should have ignored it. I should have called it in, waited for backup. But something in her voice, it didn't sound fake. It sounded real. It sounded like pain. So I grabbed my flashlight, strapped on my boots, and went. The night was colder than it should have been. Every step deeper into the woods felt like I was walking through wet velvet. The air got thicker, heavy, like breathing through cotton soaked in pine tar. It took me 40 minutes to find her. She was barefoot, her white dress stained red at the hem, knees scraped raw. Long tangled hair clung to her face like seaweed. She was leaning against a tree, sobbing, arms curled around her like she was trying to hold her insides in. I approached slowly. "Ma'am, are you okay?" She looked up at me with eyes so wide, so black. I felt a knot coil in my stomach. "My daughter," she gasped. "She's gone. They took her, but I can't say her name." "What's her name?" I asked gently. She screamed, and lunged back like I'd struck her. "No, I can't say it. If I say it, they'll take me too." She buried her face in her hands. Her body shook like something was crawling just beneath her skin. I didn't know what to say. I radioed the station, dead static. I tried again. Nothing. She begged me to take her out of the forest. "Please walk me out. Just keep walking. Don't let me say it. No matter what happens, don't let me say it." I agreed, though every part of me wanted to turn back. Something felt wrong. Fundamentally, bone deep wrong. I wasn't just afraid of getting lost. I was afraid the woods wanted me lost. We started walking, her beside me, limping. The trees pressed closer the deeper we went. My flashlight flickered. Then the beam just stopped. It didn't go out. It just wouldn't shine. Like the dark here wasn't absence of light. It was a thing, a presence. Then we heard it. A whisper. Low, gurgling. Not one voice, but a dozen, maybe more. Say the name. It came from all around. The branches creaked with it. Leaves rustled with words they shouldn't be able to form. The woman whimpered. "Don't listen. They wanted to speak it. That's how they get you. That's how they mark you. I wanted to run, but I couldn't leave her. Not yet. Say the name. Closer. Louder. I turned the flashlight off. Didn't matter anyway. We moved by memory, intuition. The woman stumbled, gripped my arm, dug her fingers in hard. We're almost there, she said. Don't speak. Don't think of the name. Not even in your head. The forest pulsed. And then something happened that I still can't explain. The trees changed. They bent. Curve in ways trees aren't supposed to. Trunks split open and showed faces. Not carved. Not painted. Real faces. Pressed into the bark. As if someone had been buried alive inside them and tried to push their way out. Eyes blinked. Mouths whispered. I was frozen. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't scream. Then the woman jerked forward, stared into the blackness, and whispered. Her name is Clara. That was all. And she vanished. Not poof. Not in a flash. Not in a beam of light. She just unraveled. Like smoke. Like a memory you were never supposed to have. Gone. I ran. Tripped. Slammed into trees. Got scratched, bloodied, blinded by tears. Somehow I got out. I don't remember how. One moment I was in the hollow. The next I was at the station, vomiting on the gravel outside. There was no call logged. No voice on the recording. Nothing on the GPS. I filed a report. It got buried, of course. My supervisor chalked it up to stress, sleep deprivation, an overactive imagination. I try to believe him, but I still have her blood on the cuff of my jacket. Still haven't washed it. And sometimes, when I walk near the border of the hollow, when I'm stupid enough to even get close, I hear the whisper, not far, right behind me. Say the name. And I think of her. And I think of the trees with faces. And I wonder what would happen if I said it.